You're listening to the JORNI Podcast. Today marks our very first episode, and we're excited to welcome you to this brand new podcast. Hi, I'm Petra Brunnbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the JORNI Podcast. Hello and welcome to, I guess what's called the episode 0 of the JORNI Podcast. Since this is a brand new adventure, let's dive right in and I'll tell you a little bit about the journey and how this podcast came to be. I'm Petra Brunnbauer, and for decades I struggled with suicide, depression, eating disorders, trauma, PTSD, sadness, anxiety, stress, and in the last few years with complex regional pain syndrome. But don't let that fool you, because this is a podcast about healing and finding ways to break free from all that. I started out as a teenager in need of therapy and medication, and eventually transformed into an advocate for my own health and whole body healing. I certified in anything and everything that I could find that I hoped would help me get better. And yes, there's some very sketchy stuff out there, to be sure. Over the years, I learned a lot about my body and my mind and how everything works together. I tried yoga and meditation, life coaching, therapy, acupuncture, hypnosis, timeline therapy, sound healing, somatic experiencing, Qigong, EFT, NLP, and a bunch of other acronyms. And I kept track of all the things I found that made me feel a little bit better at a time. And I learned to understand when my mind and body were heading for that dark hole again, and I learned strategies and techniques to manage myself. And that's really how the JORNI and the JORNI Podcast were born. I believe there's so many ways out there for feeling better and getting better, and we could spend hundreds of episodes talking about all that. My hope for this podcast is that we bring you just a little bit of hope in each episode so that you too can break free and you can become an advocate for your mental health. In every episode, I would like to explore a way or a technique for coping with depressive symptoms, anxiety, and stress to give you more choices and more options for your healing journey. I want to equip you with your own holistic healing toolbox so you can reach for the right tool whenever you feel you need it. Now, that's not to say that therapy and medication don't have a place in your journey, but it is important to become aware of the fact that the world of healing is so much bigger than that. And yes, not all things will work for all people, and not all people will find this podcast helpful. But it is my hope that with every episode you feel your burden lighten a little and you start to look left and right and you dare to dream again. The brain fog lifts just a bit more, things become more clear, you feel a tingle of energy, and eventually you feel ready to take on life again and go after the things that fell by the wayside. And I think we can all agree that struggling with sadness, anxiety, and stress really sucks the life out of you and leaves you feeling like you don't even recognize yourself anymore. So it's time to break free and reclaim your sanity. And maybe we can walk this part of your healing journey together. Welcome to the JORNI Podcast, and I hope to see you for our next episode with a really exciting guest interview. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the JORNI Podcast, please subscribe, share on social media, and leave us a review. And be sure to get your copy of our brand new ebook called Break Free. Sending you love and courage, and see you next week. Until then, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the JORNI blog.